All right, what we're going to do now is my combat effectiveness test. This is a template that you can do if you have the range, of course, to be able to set up a simple target. All I've got downrange is an IPSC target that I drew an 8-inch torso cavity on. What this is it helps me balance speed and accuracy. So I'm going to be on the clock here, so I'm going to put myself on a very strict time limit. In this case, 2 seconds back to the 50-yard line to fire 2 rounds as a beginner level. You should be able to get 2 rounds inside this 8-inch circle as long as you're doing everything fundamentally correct. So that's where the accuracy portion comes in. I've got to beat the time, but also stay inside the 8-inch circle, balancing speed and the accuracy. They're both in one and the same machine. They're not different from each other. A lot of people will just teach accuracy or just teach fast movements or speed or feet work. It's not about that. It's about balancing both of them. That's what makes you a better shooter. Now, I'm not saying don't isolate precision by itself, because isolating precision and accuracy by itself is a very good thing, like we covered in zero and fundamentals. So that's something now we're changing, and we're coming into more of a dynamic shooting template here. So I'm going to try to keep as many rounds inside that 8-inch circle as possible, causing, in reality, a massive ballistic wound cavity. Okay, I'm not looking at headshots here, because under critical stress, we're going to play this as it lies. In reality, I'm going to shoot for that torso. All right, so let's get this started. I'm going to show you guys and talk about what we're doing here. Now, downrange, I've got a steel IPSC target, and I have a paper IPSC target. Again, we're going to use both of them at 50, 75, and 100. I'll shoot steel so you guys can hear the reports. Now, what we're going to do is get set up. I'm going to go ahead and load and make ready here. Adjust my optics accordingly to the environment. And this is something also take in consideration when you're running optics. Even iron sights on the gun, you're going to find you have a height over bore issue. So remember how high your optic is, or your iron sight is, over the center line of bore. So when we're shooting at close ranges like 5, 10, 15, 25, and if we have a 50, 100 yard, 200 yard zero, depending on what it is, you're going to be hitting different places. So like in the zeroing, we've got to understand where we're impacting. So I know at this range I'm going to be 2.5 inches low with this particular setup. All right, so here we go. On the timer, I'm going to put 2 seconds on the delay, 2 seconds on the par. Using a good combat stance, okay, I've got the stock again in the center line of the body, allowing the body to absorb all the recoil, because I'm going to be shooting a little bit faster here in a second. But I'm going to show you what 2 seconds sounds like. Okay, it's a lifetime in combat. So if I was in a gunfight, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm getting shot at that entire time, I'm shooting back in that entire time. 2 seconds can be a lifetime. So we want to be able to maximize. We want to be able to present fast to the target. So what I've done is I've set up for this template where you're in your stance. And so if you're in a class environment or you're with me and I say stand by, this is the position I would want you in, right here, where you can take your chin and look over your stock, okay? Being aware of your surrounding, being able to search and assess. This is not searching and assessing, okay? This is searching and assessing and looking with your eyes. That way, if we see something, we can snap the gun to that direction, we can snap the gun to that direction, instead of being stuck over here with a rifle or stuck over here with a rifle. So keep that in mind in search and assess. So again, when we look over the sights, is all I'm looking for the start of this drill. Hand on fire control, ready to manipulate the safety, good strong foregrip, and able to turn your chin. When the buzzer goes off, drive the gun up, snap the dot up to the target, take the safety off at the same time, and engage. Okay. So here we go. Let me show you again how much time we have in 2 seconds. 154. I'm really trying to shoot as slow as possible. Let me try to take all the time. Okay, 160. It's still hard for me to shoot that slow at this distance in this time. But I'm using everything fundamentally correct. I'm using efficiency. I'm just driving the gun up. That's all it is. Drive the gun. Still resetting the trigger. No matter how fast I shoot, I still have a good reset on this AK trigger. So now let's try for 6 rounds in 2 seconds. 6 rounds. Okay, so 6 rounds in 143. All right, so let's go for 10 rounds. What the hell? All right, I can't count today. It's 11 rounds and 186. 11 rounds. So now let's see what I can do on this target. Let me go ahead and tack reload here. So I'm going to try to run whatever I can in that time limit. So here we go. So 13 rounds and 2 flat, right at 2. So 13 rounds with this weapon system. Now this is a custom gun. I've got a little bit of a brake to help me here. I've relieved the gas port. So if you're running a standard traditional AK system, try to get at least 2 to 4 rounds in this circle. As you can keep them in the circle at any given range during this combat effectiveness test, increase your round count. If you have plenty of time left over, go for 4, go for 6, go for 8, go for 10, go for 15. Try to get whatever you can. Only not because you may shoot 15 rounds on a person at 5 yards, but I can tell you from experience, you will shoot until that target no longer presents a lethal threat to you or somebody else. In society, your house, your teammates, whatever the case may be, you will engage that person until they go down. Box drills, failure drills, it doesn't happen anymore. We don't walk into a house and shoot one to the head or 2 to the body, 1 to the head, or 2 to this body, 2 to that body, 1 to this head, 1 to that head. I have never seen anybody in combat nor heard of anybody in combat that has done an actual box drill and been successful. It's typically riding the person until they go down because of the body alarm response, because of what your body does physiologically under stress. So what's going on is I'm using this drill to get massive consistency in balancing speed and precision, okay? So now let's go ahead and move back to the 10-yard line. All right, so same thing. 2 seconds on the clock, start with 2 rounds for the basic standard. One, 5, 2. All right, so I'm gonna go for 8 rounds. All right, 1, 6, 5. What I'm doing is I'm snapping that dot. Every time I pull that trigger, I'm gonna see the dot move around. So what is your job? Your job is to fundamentally drive that dot back to where it needs to go, specifically when you start shooting really fast. Now this cone of deviation is going to start expanding, this cone of fire, okay? Up front, it's really easy to keep them inside that circle. As we start to move back, we've got to really, truly concentrate. So let's go ahead and we're going to move back to the 15 now. All right, 15 yards, same thing. Six shots and 198. So again, we're just going for a standard here. I could keep going faster, probably get 12, 13 shots in here if I really wanted to because I'm holding the gun. My fundamentals feel the same at 5, 10, and 15. Now when I start moving back, things are really going to start opening up and I've really got to concentrate on that dot and keep snapping it back to the center of that target. So let's go back to the 25 and see what happens. All right, so what we're going to do now at the 25, I want to talk about gloves really fast first. I'm going to put my glove on here because when you run drills like this, typically AKs get hot, okay? I don't like to shoot with gloves on. I like to be able to feel the gun as much as possible, but in this case, you're going to want a glove, trust me. All right, so here we go. 25-yard line, 2 rounds, 2 seconds. Okay, both shots are in, 1, 3, 5. Let's try it again. Let's go for 4 rounds. Okay, right at 2 seconds with 4 shots. Let's go for 6 rounds this time. I'm going to tighten it up. All rounds are in there. 2 flat, 6 rounds. So you can see it's all about getting into that character. It's about how you position yourself, how you manage that recoil. Be that rigid recoil abutment behind the gun so the sights go back where you want them to go. And that's all I'm doing here. And then incorporating, besides that feel, the sight alignment, sight picture, and then the trigger control. Okay, and that's how I'm fundamentally correctly doing this drill, keeping them inside that 8-inch circle and doing it very quickly. All right, let's go back to 50. All right, back at the 50-yard line now. Still 2 seconds, trying to get 2 rounds inside that combat effective zone. All right, so 2 seconds. Get into character, make sure I got a really good stance back here because that cone's opening up on me. So 184. Let's go for 3 rounds. Okay, so a little over the time, but that's as fast as I can shoot right there. And to rush that last shot, it's about 1 inch high outside the zone there. So 226 is that last shot. So that's what I call a failure point. Now, I could probably do it again and try to beat it. So let's try it, because I'm now going to fix what happened. $179, 3 shots, they're all in there. So basically what I did there is tightened up and identified when the dot was going to come in, because the first time the dot wouldn't settle fast enough. So I just fixed my core muscles, and what was wrong on the first one, I diagnosed myself being over tense in the core. By being over tense, I'm just doing this instead of allowing the gun to settle. So on the second try, allow the gun to settle, comes right back into the circle. So it's understanding how to feel your body, seeing what you need to see, and of course that trigger control is consistent throughout. But the feel is what really changes as we move back. So now let's try something different. Let's go to the 75. We're going to talk about kneeling.